Hey y'all, this is episode number 13. Lucky number 13. So thanks for being here, and thanks once again to Flavor Aid for creating the intro music you're about to hear. Their EP release party is this Friday, May 31st, at Stubbs here in Austin, Texas. So come out for that if you're in the Austin area. And their new single, Ghost in Me, is available on Spotify and all streaming services. What's up, y'all? This is the Sovereign Individual Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Guerra, and thank you so much for joining once again today. I really appreciate it, and if you are liking what you're hearing so far, please go ahead and subscribe, rate, and review the show, and share it with anyone you think might be interested in listening to these ideas about, liberty and current politics and kind of this different perspective, hopefully, that a lot of people are getting to hear, and hopefully you learn a little bit too. I'd like to think that I'm helping y'all out as much as this is a help for me. Like I said, it's very cathartic. I was mentioning in one of my group chats the other day that I'm considerably less upset about politics, or I get considerably less upset about politics now that I've got this, the ability to just kind of vent and get things off of my chest has worked out quite nicely. So thanks for listening, and we'll see if we can't grow this thing, see what heights we might reach. But if nothing ever ends up coming of it, it's again it helps me a lot. So whether or not it's working out for anybody else, it's working out for me. So, and with that being said, happy Memorial Day. I hope everybody is enjoying the holiday and enjoying the weekend, having some good, grilling, some good pool parties, going to the lake, whatever it is you're doing to enjoy the weekend. I almost said celebrate there. It's kind of a weird holiday in that regard because you're not really celebrating per se. It's supposed to be a kind of somber day. You're remembering those that have lost their lives while serving our country. And but also it is, it's a fun day. You grill, you cook out, you have some beers, hang out by the pool, do all that. It's kind of the kickoff of summer in a lot of ways. So it's an interesting holiday in that regard. Also on that note, I hope everybody's being safe, using Uber and Lyft to get around, no drinking and driving. There's no need for it anymore, it's really kind of cool how the market was able to offer such a great solution to the drunk driving problem. Obviously it's not solved. There's still people that drink and drive like, jerk-offs, but by and large it's not a problem you should ever have to face anymore. It's so cost effective to use Uber and Lyft, and so readily available. It's really cool how the market was able to do that. And again, just proof of why I love the market so much. But anyway, enough about that. Back to Memorial Day. So again, it's a interesting holiday as far as kind of the view on it goes, and it gets into an interesting reaction as far as within the liberty movement and kind of greater libertarianism. There's kind of two camps or two paths that are followed on Memorial Day when it comes to being a libertarian. And the first path is kind of, somber, respectful, I'd say empathetic, I think is a good word to put it as, to kind of the day and what it represents, and kind of cooling off on the anti-war rhetoric and the challenging of American foreign policy and American imperialism and the way in which we're conducting these nonstop wars, in the idea of kind of respecting those that have lost loved ones, which is kind of the camp that I fall into. And then the other camp is combative, verbally anyway, or written, not physically combative, obviously, but kind of a ramping up. They kind of almost turned the dial to 11 on the anti-war rhetoric and all that kind of stuff. And for me, I think it's prudent for libertarians to think long and hard about the manner in which you want to conduct yourself on Memorial Day. It's my opinion that you're not going to convince anybody to be a libertarian. You're not going to bring somebody into the liberty movement on a day like Memorial Day. But you can turn people away, and you can turn people off, and you can make people get such a sour impression of libertarianism that they want nothing to do with it in the future. And I really think that's the only outcome that can come of being combative on a day like today. Now, don't get me wrong, like, I see the validity in it. This is, if you've listened to the show at all, you know how I feel about the warfare state and American foreign policy and what the state is doing right now. And so I get it, trust me. But in my mind, there's 364 other days in the year where I'm going to have the ability to express my anti-war beliefs. And knowing me, it's probably going to be every single one of those 364 days that I do so. I also get, the validity and the idea behind, like, mentioning that part of Memorial Day, and remembering these wars and the lives that are lost, you want to also remember the lives of innocent people that are lost as a result of these wars. Warfare is an awful, horrible thing. And one of the, guaranteed side effects of war is the loss of innocent life, collateral damage, as it's referred to. But regardless, I see, again, the validity in that. However, on a day like today, somebody who's lost a loved one to warfare or a conflict somewhere isn't really going to be in the mindset to hear something like that. And it can be viewed in the wrong way by somebody who's experiencing that. So again, valid points. There's a time and a place for being combative, especially within the liberty movement. There's definitely a usefulness to people who are, smacking down opposing ideals, and just kind of, not giving any ground, not really trying to engage in kind of discourse or anything like that. There's a place for that. There are individuals needed like that within the liberty movement. And I appreciate the people out there who do that. It tends to occur on social media. That's kind of the new public square or whatever. And, I'll see people within the liberty movement engaging in those arguments and those debates online, and, talking with people who are aggressive in their denouncement of the ideals of liberty, and they get just as aggressive and combative back. And God bless them, because I do not have the time, nor the patience, nor the energy to get in those kind of online arguments with folks I've never met, on the internet. But so again, time and a place for that, and that's something that's needed. But I really think when we're talking about a day like Memorial Day, it's really the only outcome is really the damage that can be done and the people that can be turned off. I don't think it's that crazy of a thing to suggest being empathetic to individuals who have lost loved ones on a day like today. These are people, and again, part of it may be just my soft spot for the military in general. I've been in that mindset of wanting to serve, wanting to protect the ones you love, wanting to make sure that no harm can come upon them, and doing everything you can to ensure that. And I remember, for me myself, the way that I feel about this day is kind of changed, and it's kind of in a weird state in a way. And when I was younger, it was, this is a reminder why I'm on the path that I'm on, why I want to do what I want to do, that this day may have significant meaning to my loved ones, my family and my friends, if I end up dying in service. And then obviously, now I have a much different feeling about the state and, foreign policy and all that kind of stuff. So it has a slightly different meaning, I guess you could say, and I don't view it in quite the same way. But that's not to say that I don't understand what the day represents and why it is important, and that there are those that are grieving and those that are mourning the loss of loved ones who are not there with them today. They're not there to have a beer or some hot dogs and some burgers while they're grilling, or playing pool volleyball or going out on the boat together, and that sucks. That's something that they aren't getting to enjoy about this weekend, and this weekend's going to serve as a reminder of that to them every single year. So I really don't think it's that insane of a concept to suggest that we can be empathetic towards that as libertarians. Again, we have the whole rest of the year to talk about anti-war sentiments and to talk about how we feel about American foreign policy. I don't think it's necessary to do it today. And this isn't a suggestion of watering down our message or trying to misrepresent what libertarianism is in order to gain some sort of broader appeal or anything like that. It's just, hey, this is a day where the mantra of if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all might be something to consider doing. If you can talk about it in a somber way that kind of shows respect to those that are mourning, that's something to do. If you really feel that you can't even address the issue without getting upset about American foreign policy and the conflict in which these people lost their lives and whether or not it was justified or anything like that, again, speaking to somebody who totally understands that. Every episode where I talk about war, I have to give the language warning. So I understand the passion there and the anger that can come with it. But I don't think it's crazy to just say, hey, maybe just don't talk about it today. Because again, is it really worth it to turn people off to the ideas of liberty because you just couldn't not talk about anti-war stuff for a single day? You couldn't not, criticize the mission. You couldn't not say that they died for nothing for a single day. I don't really think so. I think we can be better about that. I don't think it's any sort of concession on our part or anything like that. It's just, hey, here's a day where we're just going to let people mourn as they do. I'm not going to get involved in Twitter arguments or Facebook arguments or anything like that. I'm going to go enjoy my day off work. I'm going to go grill. I'm going to go hang out at the pool. And I'm going to spend time with loved ones. And there's certain people out there who don't get to do that. So I'm just going to stay off my phone, stay off the internet. I don't think that's a crazy thing. I don't think that is that big of an ask that libertarians kind of take that approach to it. But again, this is libertarians we're talking about. So there's some people that may hear me and agree with me and already do that, or agree with me and want to start doing that as well. And then there's some who may, give me the finger and tell me that I'm not a real libertarian, which is its own funny thing. It's a kind of a joke I like to hear or to say. I may have already said it on the podcast, but whenever I see libertarians being criticized, online or something by someone who's not a libertarian, I just laugh because I'm like, yeah, whatever, feel free to criticize all you want, but just know that nobody hates libertarians more than other libertarians. And if you haven't been told that you're not a real libertarian, you're not hanging out in enough libertarian circles, because it's inevitable that somebody's going to tell you that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, this is going to be a short one. Real short one. You're welcome for only subjecting y'all to around 15 minutes or so of listening to me. But yeah, that was just kind of what I wanted to go over as far as this day goes, and what it represents and the way in which the liberty movement should maybe try approaching this day. And it looks like, we'll be going for another episode that I'll release pretty quickly here. I've got something I want to talk about the corporate media getting trolled again, which is both hilarious and sad. And so we're going to dive into that and what's been going on there, and kind of just what implications that may have, and why it's dying a slow death. So that's something to look forward to. We'll get that episode out here probably on Wednesday. The week's a little messed up from the holiday weekend. So thanks again for listening. I really appreciate it as always. Please subscribe, rate, and review. And I hope everybody enjoyed their holiday weekend and stayed safe this weekend. So you are a sovereign individual, free to act on this day in whatever manner that you see fit, but I just ask to keep the thoughts of and feelings and grieving that other sovereign individuals might be going through in mind. Thanks, y'all.